Hi, everybody. My name is Sarah, and this is my podcast, Coffee Knits with Sarah. I'm based in Metro Detroit, which is in Michigan in the United States. And I'm a knitter, a stay at home mom, and I enjoy a really good cup of coffee. I am really excited to chat with you. If you are new here, it's been a few months since my last podcast. Life has been really chaotic for me and my family. Um, we'll get into that a little later. But if you're a returning viewer, thank you for coming back. I've missed you all. And yeah, so let's dive in, shall we? So, first of all, I wanted to share that today is November 3rd here in the United States, which is the last day to get out and vote. So I'm wearing my I voted sticker, which my toddlers have completely ripped to shreds. I'm also wearing my field day cardigan from Ozetta, knit in Magpie Fibers Swanky DK in Midnight Train to Georgia. I finished this about a year ago. Right before Christmas, I think, is when I finished this. And it's just the perfect kind of um, oversized, knit cardigan. And it's very soft. I love it. The color is just great for my wardrobe. It's a good staple piece. Highly recommend the pattern to anyone looking to knit a cardigan. This was my first cardigan that I ever made. And I would definitely knit another Ozetta pattern, and I would knit another cardigan because for me, it's a classic piece that layers are great. So I think eventually I would want to knit another cardigan. Let's see. I guess I want to chat next about where I've been the past couple months. And then from there, we'll dive into finished objects and works in progress. So, the past couple months, I have really not been knitting very much. And I've also been absent from podcasting. And without getting into too much nitty gritty, here's the highlight reel of the last few months. Our laundry room flooded, and it was a complete accident. The hose, the drainage hose for the washing machine came out of the sink, and now it is completely zip tied. It cannot do that again. But it flooded not only our laundry room, but part of our basement. And subsequently, a lot of our Christmas and decorations and things that we had stored in the basement were water damaged. And we still do not have a floor in my laundry room. And that should be hopefully done in the next month. I'm just waiting on the contractors to tell me when they can install the flooring that we picked. Wasn't expecting to do any renovations. If you're new here, you'll know that we actually bought this home in February of this year. And we're just slowly making it our own. We have not painted anything or done anything to the house. So that's kind of what started the downward spiral. The next thing is that my husband, due to some budget cuts, was laid off from his job. So he has been actively looking for a new job and thankfully is starting a new one at the end of this month. So it's just been a really hard time navigating that as a family and figuring out what we needed to do for ourselves to make this uncertain period of time that we went through work. So it's just been a lot of hoping and praying and trying to stay positive while we figured that out. If anyone else out there is looking for a job, my heart goes out to you because it's such a hard time right now, no matter what your background is, I think. So, anyways, enough of all of that. That's just kind of been why I've been absent. My personal life has taken a priority um, and been a lot more hectic than I could have imagined. And because of all of that, I really have not been knitting. So that's, yeah, that's that. I did get to finish a few projects since it's been so long. So let's just get into my finished objects. My first finished object is dun, 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 my Henko sweater. I'm not wearing it today. I'll insert a picture instead. But this sweater is done. I don't know. I started it at the end of May and I finished it at the beginning of September. So it's knit up in Explore Knits and Fibers, Rocky's DK, and it's the Ireland collection that she released. I don't remember when, but it's the woolly colorway is the main color. And then it's Muckross and My Guinness, I think, is the dark color. And I really love how how they all work together. My friends will not be surprised to hear this, but my gauge was off. And it's not a big deal because it still fits me, but it is a little bit of a bummer because I wanted it to be a little looser fitting, and it's not. So, lesson learned there. I was just so eager to cast it on that I did not do a gauge swatch. But and I'm a tight knitter, so I should have gone up a needle size or just figured out what I needed to do to get the right gauge. And when I was knitting this, I did have to extend the body, and that is probably a really good sign that my gauge was off. And yeah, the sleeves are slightly cropped on me as well. But other than that, I do really like the garment. I love the fit and feel of it for the most part. And of course, it's a Sari Nordland pattern, she's one of my favorite designers. And it was a joy to knit this pattern. I'm thinking about ripping out the hem and making it a little longer because I have found I feel comfortable wearing this with high-waisted pants only, and I don't own enough high-waisted pants. So I either need to maybe elongate this sweater or just only wear it over dresses and high-waisted pants. So TBD on what I'm going to do with that, but I'm happy that I finished it and looking forward to casting on another sweater for myself, maybe in the next couple months. I'm not sure yet. The other thing that I finished is, one second, my mini Woodwardia for my daughter. My oldest daughter turned 3 at the beginning of October, and my goal was to finish this sweater. So here it is in all her glory. This also was knit up in Explore Knits and Fiber Rocky's DK. I have quite a stash of Explore Knits and Fiber. This was a design from Pom Pom magazine and really simple and fun to do. This was my first child sweater, and I loved it. So I definitely want to knit another sweater or just more sweaters in general for my kids. I have 2 girls, and I think one reason why I waited so long was because I wanted my girls to be at an age where they wanted to wear them instead of just forcing them to wear them. I don't know. I guess I wanted them to appreciate what I made them. And so my oldest being 3, she saw me knitting this and asked, like she even picked out the yarn for this, but every time she saw me knitting it, she would get excited because she would know it was her sweater. And for me, that made the process of knitting this garment much more enjoyable and fun. I did the fade myself with the help of my husband helping to calculate the math. I've never done a faded garment like this before. Yeah, and I really like the little sleeve detail here as well. So, and I knit this in a size 7 so that she can grow into it. And yeah, hopefully get 2 seasons worth of wear out of it. Because in Michigan, it's getting cold out there. So she's been starting to wear this as well as all the other cold gear. So yeah, I think that's all I want to say. If you've knit any children's sweaters or cardigans or anything, please let me know in the comments what patterns you've enjoyed knitting, because I want to cast on something for my youngest daughter whose birthday is in April. She'll be 2. So I think that would be another good time to kind of gift a sweater for my other daughter. All right, moving right along. I feel like I'm talking really fast and cruising through this. I'm a little nervous and rusty because it's been a few months since I've chatted with you guys. The next thing I wanted to share is a spontaneous cast on. It's a hat. I love knitting hats. I think they're just like a good palette cleanser for me. I love knitting in the round. I think typically knit hats are a slightly larger or like medium needle size, which I enjoy. Yeah, so I knit this free Purl Soho hat pattern. And this is in Magpie Fibers Swanky DK, which is the same as my cardigan right now. This is the color Tactical, which is this really fun green. I was trying to think of another word for it. It definitely makes me think of like camo and frogs and wildlife and like, I don't know. It's a muted green. And my husband's favorite color is green. He asked for a new hat. I have knit him I have my Ravelry up just so I can like reference everything. I knit my husband the Harlow hat, which is an Andrea Mowry pattern. It's a brioche hat. That was my first time doing brioche. And I really enjoyed that stitch. The problem with that hat is it stretched out too much. Maybe it was the yarn that I chose. I'm looking at the yarn right now, and yeah, it's fingering wool and silk. So, and yeah, I think it would have been better with a more rustic, maybe yarn or something that doesn't grow and expand as much. But this pattern is similar to that in that it's like a ribbed hat. So this is just 1x1 ribbing. So you see it just really grows nicely, but then it snaps back and holds its shape. So I'll just try it on really quick for you. I don't have pictures of my husband wearing it yet. It fits me really well too, so I might just steal it from him. He asked for a really thick brim. So I adapted the pattern to accommodate that. I knit longer before I did the crown decreases. Thankfully, this hat is like a bottom-up hat, so he was able to try it on and tell me, that he wanted it a little bit longer. And yeah, I got this done in 2 weeks, which one of the fastest things I've knit. It was on size 3 US needles. Double checking this. 1 second. Yeah, US 3, which is a 3.25 millimeter needle. And yeah, I don't love knit purl. Like, I'm a thrower, not a picker, which I think I've said before. So switching between knitting and purling like that in a ribbing is just kind of tedious. But at the same time, this hat was just simple. And when I just needed to zone out and watch some TV, this was the perfect thing to knit. And knowing that it was for my husband, who is one of the most knit-worthy people, I just really wanted to get this done for him before the snow started flying in Michigan and it got really cold. I also feel like I've been feeling a little guilty because I have a languishing spice cardigan that's supposed to be for him that I tried casting on a couple years ago, and it's just not even close to being done. I actually have it right here. This is what I've got. Yeah, so it's a sleeve that is not attached to yarn anymore because I needed to block this to make sure that it was the correct gauge, and surprise, surprise, it's not. So, anywho, I just really wanted to knit my husband this hat, and I'm glad I did it. What I was working on when I decided to cast this hat on was actually a pair of socks. So with that, we will switch gears and talk about whips really quick. And yeah. Works in progress. Here we go. I have a sock. One sock because second sock syndrome is real. This is the I'm So Basic sock by Summerlee Knit. Summerlee Knits. Basically the queen of socks, or one of the queens of socks, in my opinion. She's like exclusively a sock pattern designer, as far as I'm aware. This is a self-striping yarn from Nomadic Yarns, and this is my first finished sock ever. I have attempted to knit socks before. Ironically, I don't know if you watch her podcast, but Knit California, who's another podcaster, has recently completed her first pair of socks, and it's also this pattern. And she and I are both not sock knitters. So I don't know if there's something in the water or the air, but 'tis the season to become a sock knitter, I guess. I think what drew me to this is that this is a Halloween inspired self-striping yarn. And I started knitting this in October, like October 1st, I cast this on. And I started my second pair, and then I just kind of fizzled out with it and wanted to cast on my husband's hat. But now that that's over, I'm looking forward to just cruising on this, having another simple knit. This is truly my only like super active whip. Um, and funnily enough, when I was in line to vote this morning, it dawned on me that I didn't bring my knitting and that this would have been the perfect thing to wait in line to work on, because I was in line for about an hour. um, but anywho, the project is really lovely. I am knitting the size large. I've been able to try this on as I go. I haven't blocked this sock yet, but it does fit me. And yeah, I think like similar to other things that I've knit, once you do it for the first time, like once you knit your first hat or your first cardigan, you either have this moment of, oh, I can do that again, or oh, I never want to do that again. And for me with socks, I would knit them again. Like something clicked in me that said, I get it now. Like I understand how it works. I understand the formula behind it. And I did use Magic Loop, or I am using Magic Loop, as you'll see. I do have small circumference needles, and usually when I'm doing sleeves for like a sweater or a cardigan, I prefer small circumference needles versus DPNs and other things. But for this, I have found that the longer needles have allowed me to have good tension in my arm or my hand, and I'm not feeling discomfort when I'm knitting it. I also think that I'm a little bit more of an experienced knitter than I was the first time I attempted to knit socks, so my tension is better and I'm not experiencing laddering, which is what happens when you go from one side of your knitting to the other. Sometimes there's a little ladder effect here. And that's not happening. So proud of myself and my progress, and hoping that I can just actually have a pair of socks in the future to show you all, and that I'm not just gonna have a single sock forever. Will I be a super intense sock knitter now? Probably not. I do still prefer a larger needle size and just, yeah, knitting in the round versus like um this knitting flat on one side and flipping. Anyways, this is technically knit in the round, but you get what I mean. But yeah, I am pleased with that. So that's my like super active whip. And then my other work in progress is the Poet Scarf by Sorry Nordland. And this is for my mom. I actually ripped it back. So I don't actually have anything to show you except for this little ball of yarn that used to be the beginning of the scarf. I believe that I need to go up a needle size because I'm a tight knitter and this pattern is um, a lace motif. I just think it will be beneficial for me to go up a needle size to have a looser, airier looking fabric. I don't think the gauge matters too much because it's just a little scarf for your neck. And we'll just see. The goal is for this to be a Christmas gift for my mom. And I'm knitting this out of this KAOS yarn, Organic Soft Merino House, in the color Fair. And this is a merino. You hold these double. So it's a brushed alpaca and then a merino held together. And I'll probably, if I haven't already, I'll insert a picture of the pattern that I'm doing. And my mom chose this very classic gray color for it. Because when I'm gift knitting, I like to give people the choice of what color palette it is. And I think that's just really fun to like involve them because it is something that I want them to love wearing. Sometimes I've just like knit something and not told them that I'm knitting them something. But more times than not, I tell the person that I'm going to knit them something and that I have them pick out the yarn, and then it like commits me to actually doing it instead of not doing it. But anywho, that's what's in my little bag here, which I will insert the information for because I'm blanking. Something Owl is the name of this bag, right? With this fun little tassel. So those are my two whips, and I do want to kind of wrap things up here by talking to you about things I would like to cast on or work on in the future. The first is actually something I've completed. It's called the Birkin sweater. So this beautiful sweater, I finished this in 2023. I started it in 2022, and that was when I was pregnant with my second child. Question mark. What is time? Anyways, I love this sweater because I was working on it while I was pregnant, and I have photos of myself wearing this with my baby bump, and I just really am proud of myself for completing it because it's my first like color work yoke sweater, and it was just lovely to knit. This was a Barrett Wool Co. kit that I purchased. So this is not the yarn that the pattern was like released in or anything. This is a pattern by Caitlin Hunter. And I knit the size large, which is a 4 per the pattern. And based on what I've said before, you might already know what the problem is with the sweater and why I want to work on it in the future. The yoke part is tighter than the rest of the sweater. You might even be able to see how tight it is. So when I put this sweater on, it really fits me nicely. But the sweater goes up like, I don't know. Hold on. Let's pause it and let me try it on for you to just see what I'm talking about, okay? All right. So I'm wearing it. This is my Birkin sweater, and I'll stand up really quick. So I really like the way it fits on my body. It was made to be this 3/4 length sleeve. I love the sleeve. It's not too tight there at all. However, you can see that it's like coming up. Like I could do this. Um, it's supposed to be more like this. And it's just every time I wear it, it just wants to ride up and sit like that. So I've been thinking that I could do sweater surgery. Never really done this type of major sweater surgery before, but I think I could cut, or I could put, I think I could put a lifeline in, and I've watched a few videos. I haven't done enough research, but I've looked into it a little bit. I think I could do a lifeline here, like all the way around the bottom of the color work section. I mean, if I really wanted to, I could also do it here as well, so I don't have to redo the cast on neckline. And then I think I would like to go up a size in the needle and redo the color work and then reattach it to the body. Is that crazy? I just really would like to wear this more. And I don't know, like, see how much it's like coming up here? It's just, this is like where it wants to lay. Like when I'm not pulling on it or anything, this is where it wants to live. And if you look at pictures of the pattern, it's supposed to sit lower on your shoulders and your arms, like the color work. So I don't know what to do. If you are a color work round circular yoke knitter, if you've had experience with sweater surgery, construction, if you're a tight knitter like me, if you have any advice to share with me about this, please let me know. I don't love the idea of cutting up my sweater, but I also don't love that it's just sitting in my closet and not getting worn. And this was one of, like I said, my first colorwork yoke sweaters. And now that I've knit a few more garments, I understand my knitting style more. And I know that I'm a tight knitter. So I just want to be able to wear this sweater. I have quite a bit of leftover yarn for this colorwork yoke because the kit came with a skein of each color for the colorwork part. So I have plenty of color yarn left over to redo this and not have to reuse this yarn necessarily. So I think it's definitely possible, but the thought of actually doing it is a little intimidating. So that's like the big thing that's kind of looming in the back of my head that I want to maybe do. The other things that I'm thinking about casting on are a cozy classic light for just a classic sweater. I have, I think, 6 skeins of this yarn. It's Explorer Knits and Fibers Denali sock in the color Turning Leaves. This is a superwash merino nylon blend. It's an 80/20. And I just love the colors in this. Cozy Classic Light is a Jessie May Designs pattern, and it's been in my library for ages. If you've knit that pattern before, please let me know. Or if you have other suggestions for just a classic fingering weight yarn pattern, share them in the comments. Yeah, I just would like a basic sweater, I guess. I'm not thrilled with the idea of knitting a fingering weight sweater, to be honest. But I think after knitting my hat and my other sweater, the Henko, which was DK, I think I'm ready to dive into another fingering weight garment. So, and this has been languishing in my stash for a long time. And it's beautiful, so I would like to knit with it. So that's the one thing I'm thinking of casting on. Again, casting on is just like I could change my mind tomorrow, but this is what I'm feeling today. The other thing that I'm thinking of doing is a sweater with this North Bay Fiber Heritage GK yarn in the color Sandpoint. I love the feel of this yarn. I purchased this at the beginning of the summer when I was up north with my friends at the Tip of the Mitt Festival, and it's a Targhee Polypay breed of yarn. So it's American, 100% source spun, dyed in the US, and spun at Stylinger Wool in Frankenmuth. So I just, yeah, this is sitting in my stash, and I feel like it's the time of year that you can break out your chunkier, heavier weight wool, and this is it. So I kind of want to knit the Cone DK sweater, which is a Harrisville design, published in Harrisville Design collection. Sarah Solomon Into the Wool made this pattern, and I believe I've talked about it before, but it's an all over textured raglan sweater. Yeah. Yep. I've looked at the pattern, and it's kind of hard for me to like understand some of the parts of it. So I think that's what's kept me from casting it on. If you have other suggestions for an all over textured DK weight sweater, please share them with me. I don't have any, I've never done like all over cable or an all over textured sweater before. I would like to give that a go. Or just a sweater that has like some texture or some cables. That would be nice to do. I have five skeins, six skeins of this. But it's only 150 yards per skein, so not like a huge amount, but definitely enough to knit something, some garment up. The other thing that I want to do, one second, let me grab it. I want to knit with this Golden Bee Farm Fin Sheep DK yarn, which I also got at the Tip of the Mitt fair. And my friend Emily and her partner run Golden Bee Farm in northern Michigan, and this is just gorgeous, gorgeous yarn. And I want to knit a pair of mittens, fingerless mittens with this. And Emily, I probably need to buy another skein so that I can knit a matching hat, because I think that would be cute. And maybe a scarf, So maybe I need like however many skeins that would be to do that, because I've never done like a whole set of like winter accessories. And why not? Why not do that? So I love this color. It's like a shade of brown, but it's kind of heathered with some silver gray tone to it. It's just, natural wool, and it's beautiful. So, yeah, maybe I'll do this next. I don't know. I think like when fall and winter hit, I become an accessory knitter, like hats and scarves and gloves and things to keep you warm that aren't just a big sweater, because sweaters take such a long time for me to knit. Um, so yeah, these are my very different but beautiful yarns that I'm thinking of working with next. Some non-superwash, one superwash. So tune in next time to see what I'll be actually working on. Um, and I think that's it. I'm looking around my desk to make sure there's nothing else. Um, yeah, thank you for tuning in to my ramblings of a podcast. Oh, you might have noticed if you're a returning viewer that my office craft room layout has changed. With the flooding of the laundry room, it impacted my office because I share a wall with the laundry room, and the water went underneath the floor and into this room, which is carpeted. So for about a month, I didn't have access to this room, and that gave me the chance to rearrange when I was able to get back into it. So my desk is now against this wall, which you can't see. Um, and then instead of it being in the middle of the room, which is where it was before, I put my yarn cabinet over here, which is next to the window wall. And my chair that I sit in to knit is in the other corner behind me, so I can look out the window and kind of enjoy the view a little bit more. I also have this behind me. It's a blue cabinet that I've had for quite a while, which has some yarn in it. And I was also able to hang, when my parents were visiting for my daughter's birthday, hang some artwork up on the wall. My mom actually brought a few things that we had at the farm, the alpaca farm growing up. And one of them is a really beautiful, I think it was a commissioned piece. I'm not sure. Don't quote me on that. But I have like this kind of vivid, murky memory of going to visit someone who made that art for us of alpacas. So yeah, now I have a little like wall there, which kind of is an ode to my childhood and my roots on the farm that I grew up on. And yeah, I'm really loving the layout so far, hoping to put up a few more pieces of art. I also want to put a full length mirror somewhere so that when I'm working on things, I can try them on in this room instead of like going into the bathroom and or like upstairs. Like just having it all be in one room, I think would be nice. Um, yeah, so this is the room, and I yeah, I'm hoping to like keep it this way for a little while, but if you have any like thoughts on the layout, I'm still filming on my iPhone and I don't have a microphone yet or anything. So if the audio is weird or anything like that, feel free to like let me know. I do edit and review everything kind of diligently, but yeah, open to constructive criticism and feedback about my podcast. That's it, I guess. I said that was it like a while ago. And then in typical Midwest fashion, it was the longest goodbye ever. Um, Thank you, everyone, for tuning in to my podcast. My name is Sarah, and this is Coffee Knits with Sarah. And I have loved chatting with you today about my knitting. And I will see you next time. Bye, everybody.